What's going on, guys? Brad Abbott here, and welcome to episode 11 of Gear Stories. Today, we're bringing a guest on the channel for a second time. Well, second time we've ever had a guest. First time with Chip Dominick, and we're taking a look at this beautiful Gibson Lzzy Hale Signature Explorer. Chip's going to tell us all about the stories of this guitar, what got him so interested in it, where it's played, what it's recorded, all that kind of thing. We're going to go ahead and let him take it away. So what drew you to this guitar, and then what have you done with it since?
Cool. Well, the story actually goes back to a different Gibson Explorer. Like, I think it was around 2012, 2013. Jason Hook from at that time Five Finger Death Punch came out with his signature Explorer, and it just was so intriguing to see that guitar. And I think remember the show, that metal show with Eddie Trunk? Well, on that show, they gave one of them away. And that was just like, oh my God, they gave away this awesome guitar to someone in the audience. And something just snapped at that moment. It was like, wow, that is an incredible guitar. So also at the time, I was and continue to be a fan of Halestorm. And shortly after that, I'm going to say maybe early 2014, Lzzy Hale from Halestorm started showing up in pictures on stage with a Gibson Explorer unlike any that I've ever seen, with gold trimmings and things like that. I was like, what is that guitar? And throughout the several months after that, she was throwing out hints on social media that made it seem like, wait, is there going to be a Lzzy Hale Signature Explorer? And I know the Jason Hook one was extremely limited. At the time, it was rumored to be just 200 copies, later confirmed to be 400 copies. I was like, is she going to come out with a signature model? So then my attention went from that Jason Hook guitar to what Lzzy Hale may or may not be doing. And she was sharing pictures of her at the Gibson factory and things like that. And I'm like, I bet she is coming out with a Signature Explorer as well. So there was hint after hint after hint, but no confirmation. So I started, calling the Gibson plant and talking to people in Nashville and online retailers. And at the beginning, no one seemed to know what was going on, even though these hints were building up. And then I'm like, I have to be the first one to get that guitar, if it does come out. So then, I started calling around music retailers again, and some of them were saying, yeah, I think there is a guitar coming out later in the year, but we don't have any information. And then finally, one of the retailers confirmed that, yeah, this is coming out. And I was like, listen, I got to be the first person from the public to get this guitar. And the guy was like, oh, I think we can make that happen. So I ended up getting it on order before it was announced, before it started hitting the websites. And sure enough, I think it was October 14th of 2014. It was a Saturday morning, 8 a.m. when FedEx delivered the guitar. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. So then I posted it on social media and tagged the members of Halestorm. And Joe Hottinger, the guitarist, said, dude, that's the first one that the public got. Then the next week, they finally announced that it was going to be available. But by that time, I already had it.
So. That is so awesome.
And when they did finally announce it, the order status was this guitar will be able to ship, late October, mid-November, things like that. But I had already had it, so that was pretty cool.
About what month did you get it?
I got it in mid-October.
Mid-October.
So I think it may have been announced I should have been prepared with the dates, but it may have been announced the 14th and I got it the 12th, or announced the 14th and I got it the 10th, something like that. But I got it before it was announced. So.
Very cool. I like how determined you were to get your hands on it. You're like, listen, I gotta be one of the first, or the first to have it. That is so cool. It's a beautiful guitar, man. I'm a sucker for a white guitar, and the gold plastics on the body and hardware up top really, it pops.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's just like you look at it and it looks like it should be in the Taj Mahal or something.
Yes.
You know, you just picture like a big domed building in India or something with all this gold surrounding it, and this would be the guitar.
So you've played in a couple projects. So let's talk about those. And was this guitar involved in anything substantial?
Yeah, actually, this guitar, prior to Chip and the Charge Ups, I had a band called Dominick, named after my stage name at the time, and this guitar did get used on the last Dominick album, Uncaged, which was probably the best album from that band. It was reviewed internationally and things like that. So that's where the guitar kind of got its recording start, and I've used it on all three Chip and the Charge Ups albums. Got to use it at many Pittsburgh venues, like Altar Bar, which is now gone. You know, this guitar has a history in that building as well. And, you know, any place we've played as Chip and the Charge Ups, it's been there.
So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the specifications of this Lzzy Hale Signature Explorer. To start, we have a mahogany body, which looks like it's pretty beefy, probably has some weight to it, I'd imagine. And that shape, like the Explorer shape, is so iconic. And with the gold plastics and hardware, it really stands out. So going up to the top, you have a rosewood fingerboard and that gold hardware. Those are locking tuners with like a pearl or like mother of pearl kind of thing going on to them. So starting up at the neck, we have a classic 57, and going down to the bridge, we have a crunchier and brighter 57 plus. So those are in-house Gibson pickups, correct? They're
Yep.
So, you know, man, I can't get over the looks of it just looking at it, and I love the gold hardware. We're going to go ahead and let him play this thing. So we'll start off playing some clean tone, and that's set up to like kind of be on the edge of crunching up on the tubes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you dig in harder, you should get some nice crunch. And then we got the overdrive set up here on the Boss GT100 going into a Fender Hot Rod DeVille, mic'd up with an MXL 991 microphone. talk about what you played for those demos, man.
Sure. One of the riffs I played was "Feel Electricity" from the latest Chip and the Charge Ups album. B minor chord progression there, and I think that demonstrates kind of like the bigness that you can get from this guitar, much like, you know, AC/DC and the SGs. Those chords up there just ring out and have power. I also played a little bit of a solo from a mashup that we included on the album. We did a mashup of Lady Gaga's Bad Romance and Ozzy Osbourne's Bark at the Moon, and call it Bark at the Bad Romance. So in that, I play the Jakey Lee Bark at the Moon solos, and I played a little bit of that for you here.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's an awesome guitar. You're a really cool dude to hang out with, and I really
Likewise.
appreciate what you've done with music, and, you know, just such a sweet guitar. I appreciate you bringing it on.
Thanks for having me on.
Something that's a limited run like this. Yeah, I think you said one of 200.
Yeah, it's kind of secretive. Based on, you know, my sleuthing, we talked about what lengths I go. I believe that the original Alpine White was limited to 200. Since they manufactured that, they made what they call a dark version, where all the white is replaced with black. And then there's also kind of a mass-produced Epiphone version of it as well. But I believe that the original Gibson Alpine White was limited to 200. If it's more than that, it probably is not more, because you don't see many of the Gibsons around.
And you're looking at one of the first ones to hit the public. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video and always showing your support. You can catch me at bradabbottmusic.com and your favorite form of social media at Brad Abbott Music. And where can they find you, man?
Thechargeups.com. There's links to all of our social media there. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, etc. So thechargeups.com is a great starting off point.
All right, man. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I hope to see you soon, and I hope to see you soon next video.